Okay, so we're here to take a look at the Archangel 9130 synthetic stock for Mosin rifles. As you can see, it's a pretty stout stock. This was unveiled again at SHOT Show in January of 2013. It's completely adjustable for cheek welds and shoulder pads. It comes with 2 removable magazines. Actually, sorry, it comes with 1 5-round removable magazine, and you have the option of purchasing a 10-round magazine. So this 10-rounder is not what came in the package here. It only came with this 5-rounder. You have 2 replacement screws for your action. You have a bolt tensioner screw in case your Mosin cannot shoot with a free-floated barrel. It has a spacer for different types of receivers. If you have a round receiver or a hex receiver, you may end up needing that spacer. It comes with the assembly hex wrench if you need something to take it apart, and then it came with this spacer that was stuck up here in the mag well. And that's pretty much everything that came in the package. I got this from Mike Ballard of Archangel. That's for test and evaluation, so it didn't come with any box or anything crazy like that. So you're pretty much looking at how I got it. Let's take a few minutes and we'll take apart my Mosin and we'll see how it fits. Okay, we're back. This is my Mosin Nagant 9130. This one is a Russian-made Nagant with a round receiver. The barrel date on this is 1942. So before we start working on it, we're going to make sure we're working with a completely unloaded rifle. So I'm going to pull the bolt back, open up my action, visually inspect the chamber, physically inspect the chamber. If you go ahead, to remove the bolt, actually, we'll drop the magazine out first. Yeah, that's a sticky little thing. There we go. All right, yeah. So we're working with a completely unloaded rifle. Go ahead and close that up. Pull the bolt back. Set that down to the side. The first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to remove this front ring. As you can see, this one's already loose because it took a tremendous amount of effort off camera to get it off. But you push down on these springs, slide this guy forward, and you'll have to open it up. I used a couple pairs of needle nose pliers to kind of stretch it apart so I could fit it up and over the front sight and then off. To get the second one, you'll have to pretty much do the same thing. You'll want to push on this spring a little bit until you can get this fucker to come off here. And actually, I'm going to have somebody hand me a screwdriver right there. Thank you. All right, so we're going to take it, and then hopefully, I know I'm a little off camera there, but let's see if I can back up. We're good here, right? And then push it up a little bit. Let's see if I can. There we go. There we go. Takes a little bit of finesse and effort. I don't know how they flip these things in the wild, but there we go. Up and over. That's annoying. There we go. Alright, you're on the floor. And then take a little bit to get this guy off here as well. And then we're pretty much stuck with the rifle with just the receiver, barrel. It requires there's 2 standard screws, one that's right here in the back of the receiver, and if you flip it over, there's one here at the bottom that holds the whole magazine and trigger guard assembly in there. So that's the wrong way. Flip it over. Okay, you want to be very careful pulling the upper receiver out of the stock just to make sure the trigger, because it's all assembled and it's kind of fragile. So pull it out. And there that guy is. Set it down, and pretty much I don't need any of this stuff, so we'll set that aside. Okay, and we'll be back in a second, and I'll grab my kit and put it together. Okay, so this is the action and barrel from my 1942 Mosin 9130 with a round receiver. And this is the Archangel 9130 synthetic stock that we're going to try for some fitment. So because of my model of 9130, I do need to use the safety spacer that it comes with, so I'll go ahead and I'll slip that in ahead of time. I want to try mine at the range with a fully free-floating barrel, so I'm not going to use the barrel tensioner. I may end up having to put that in if I have problems grouping or something like that later, but hopefully we don't get that. And we have the 2 new bolts that it came with to reassemble it. It'll take a little bit of finesse to kind of get this receiver in there, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem. You just want to, again, be very, very careful with the trigger assembly because it's a little fragile. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but and we'll make it fit. Let's see if we can get this bad boy in there. You just kind of drop it in and push it down, and hopefully it's okay. Flip it over, and we'll see if this guy will fit up in there. The smaller of the 2 screws is the one that goes in the front, and the longer of the 2 screws is the one that goes in the back. You want to start by beginning the threads on both screws before you begin to tighten down. You just want to make sure that they fit in there properly. So we'll see if we can get this one started. And there it goes. We may need to get some more. We shall see. In the instructions, it actually recommends that you should use some blue Loctite, but because we're filming and I'm taking it apart and putting it back together and taking it apart and putting it back together, we're not going to use anything like that at the moment. But before I take this out to the range, I'm definitely going to make sure that I snug these bad boys down with some Loctite. And come on, there we go. So we got that one started. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to start the rear one. Which was a lot easier. There we go. Alright, flip it back. Get back to the front. To the rear. And then some people, some of the initial reports have had some issues with this rear bolt, or this rear bolt going down all the way to allow for the bolt to have free flowing motion. I didn't have any issues with fitment. Mine just dropped really flush in there. Just give it a good, nice little tighten. I think they do recommend something like 59 inch-pounds or 51 inch-pounds. I'll have to measure I'll have to check the instructions to see what the exact measurement is. But I usually just make them till they're about hand tight and then give them like a little extra quarter pressure, and then pretty good. So I'll grab the bolt assembly, slide this bad boy in there, and there we go. Probably installed in about 5 minutes or less. We'll be back in a few minutes with some function to see how everything works. I know there have been a lot of issues reported with the magazines, especially the 10-rounders not feeding correctly. So I wanted to run through a couple of the 10-round mags, or at least one of the 10-round mags, and show that we haven't had any problems, at least not here in the office. We are using live ammunition, so we're going to be extra careful about what we're doing here. So, first thing, they always recommend that you load it with the bolt closed, put it in there, slap it in hard.